This is part 2 of the lesson on elements of the short story. All characters, like human beings, exist in a place and time, in a culture, and surrounded by certain material things. Setting encompasses all of these aspects. It can be natural, created, or cultural. It is where and with what authors make their characters live and move. These various aspects of setting influence character and actions, and there are many types. Nature and the outdoors, such as mountains, rivers, rain, and heat. Objects of human manufacture and construction, like houses, cars, toys, etc. And cultural conditions and assumptions, as in primitive beliefs, scientific ideas, class differences, or racial values. All of those elements encompass setting. Authors use setting in myriad ways: to create verisimilitude or realism, to develop characters, to organize the structure of a story, to create mood or atmosphere, or to develop irony. Thus, setting reinforces most of the other elements of fiction, including character, theme, plot, structure, and tone. Characterization is the manner in which an author creates an impression and gives background information about characters so that we get to know these characters. Sometimes the author may have the character say or do unpleasant things so that we dislike this character. It's important to recognize that authors try to manipulate us as the readers to think and feel certain ways about their characters. Paying attention to how the writer is manipulating our thoughts or feelings, in other words, how they are using characterization, is a sophisticated analytical skill. A character can be said to be developed as a flat character or round character. A flat character is one who demonstrates little emotional depth, lacks complication, and does not undergo substantial change or growth during a story. This kind of character can also be referred to as two-dimensional or static. A round character is one who often demonstrates complexity, emotional depth, and is usually changed by encountering a conflict. This kind of character can be said to seem like a real person, rather than merely just a fictional creation. A symbol is something that on the surface is its literal self, but which also has another meaning, or even several meanings. For example, a sword may be a sword and also symbolize justice. A symbol may be said to embody an idea. There are two common types of symbols. Universal symbols are those that embody universally recognized meanings wherever used, such as light to symbolize knowledge, a skull to symbolize death, etc. Constructed symbols are those that are given symbolic meaning by the way an author uses them in a literary work. One example of this is the white whale that becomes a symbol of evil in Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Irony is a mode of expression through words, verbal irony, or events, irony of situation, conveying a reality different from and usually opposite to appearance or expectation. A writer may say the opposite of what he means, create a reversal between expectation and its fulfillment, or give the audience knowledge that a character lacks, making the character's words have meaning to the audience, not perceived by the character. In verbal irony, the writer's meaning or even his attitude may be different from what he says. An example of situational irony would occur if a professional pickpocket had his own pocket picked just as he was in the act of picking somebody else's pocket. The irony is generated by the surprise recognition by the audience of a reality in contrast with expectation or appearance. The surprise recognition by the audience often produces a comic effect, making irony often funny. Satire is a literary mode based on criticism of people and society through ridicule. The satirist aims to reduce the practices attacked by laughing scornfully at them, and being witty enough to allow the reader to laugh also. Ridicule, irony, exaggeration, and several other techniques are almost always present within a satire. The satirist may insert serious statements of value or desired behavior, but most often he relies on an implicit moral code understood by his audience. The satirist's goal is to point out the hypocrisy of his target in the hope that either the target or the audience will return to a real following of that moral code. Thus, satire is inescapably moral, even when no explicit values are promoted in the work, for the satirist works within the framework of a widely spread value system.